let's get into it. So I'm gonna try and keep this capped, my euphoria capped to a minimum, right? I'm euphoric. This is what I'm here for. If this is not what you're here for, I'm not sure why you're here. Here's the thing: you can be coping and sidelined on Bitcoin. You can feel like you're underexposed, and we're going to get into that in a minute. There's so much psychology that I need to get across to you guys. Um, you can be sidelined, you can be coping, you can feel like you're underexposed. Lenny, I have to call this out. Lenny said something along the lines of, I'm only 35% exposed to BTC. I want you to put that statement in perspective. Um, you know, I'm only 35% exposed to BTC. You got to understand that. I mean, it really is ridiculous. You have to understand that now that Larry Fink, right, the founder of BlackRock, CEO of BlackRock, sorry, not founder, CEO of BlackRock is starting to endorse investments in BTC. He's going to start endorsing something around like 2 to maybe 3% of a portfolio allocation to Bitcoin, right? 2 to 3%. This industry is the only place in the entire world, and here's the luxury and the benefit that we have. This is the only place in the entire world where you can be exposed 15, 20, 30, 50%. You could be exposed 100%, and you're still going to feel like you're not doing enough, and you're not allowed to be satisfied, and you're not allowed to be a cheerleader for green candlesticks because you're underexposed, because it's not 150%. And believe me, even if it were 150%, you would be, unsatisfied and greedy and saying, well, it could have been 300%. That's what I need to get across to you. This is the only industry where you can be 20, 30, 35%, 50% exposed, 100% exposed. It doesn't even matter. Dedicate 16 hours of your day to everything related to this industry, farming airdrops, watching Mercury's live streams, scrolling through crypto Twitter, going through all the different Telegram channels, trying to poke other people's brains in Discord, reading educational content, right? Reading books and trading philosophy and psychology, all that stuff, and still feel like you're not doing enough. This is the only place. 16 hours a day, dedication out the ass, 30% allocation, not doing enough, underexposed. Can't be a cheerleader for green candles. I don't feel anything. You guys are all euphoric, making a shit ton of money. I'm only up X amount today. Right? BTC CJ just said this. I feel underallocated as well, haha, despite being 75 to 80% in. And your portfolio could be up 100%. You're still going to seethe at the fact that your portfolio isn't up 200%. Here's what you need to understand. I don't care how much you're allocated, whether it's 100%, whether you just locked in generational wealth today. So for me, it would be, I can retire, I can buy out a house and say, fuck your mortgage payments. I'm not paying shit. I'm just going to buy the house outright. And I have a comfy enough cash in my bank account, and I can retire as well. So when I can lock in all three of those things, that's when I can say, I'm taking a step back. I'm semi-retired. I love that word. It's the only phrase. Crypto people use it all the time. Hey, I entered crypto, and 4 years later, I'm a mega millionaire. All right, cool. I'm semi-retired. I'm still going to trade markets. I'm still going to buy, 18K Bitcoin. But everything in between that, I don't give a fuck. I'm semi-retired, right? I can say that when all of those things are accomplished. So I don't care if today you locked in whatever your definition is of generational wealth, meaning you were able to pay off your student loans, you were able to buy out your car, you're able to pay off the rest of your mortgage, whatever that may be. Or if you're feeling like, I'm kind of break even, I'm in a bunch of altcoins. They're not really doing too well against Bitcoin. I have a Bitcoin allocation, but I'm only 10% in. I don't give a fuck. You need to be a cheerleader for green candles. You need to be. Opportunities get compounded in this industry. In order for there to be an alt season, we have to have money flowing in. We have to have Bitcoin start to steal the show. And then eventually we have to see that rotation. Suddenly, Bitcoin loses its momentum. It's not as volatile. It's not bringing the right reward for certain investors. So those investors start to divert their attention somewhere else. Ethereum beta, mid cap coins, low cap coins, Doge, Pepe, on chain degenerate shit coins that just got created 3 days ago. That. Oh, on top of that, NFTs, airdrops out the wazoo, all these different opportunities that are available to you in this industry. And it all starts with green candles. You did not have as many of those opportunities available if you were grinding your ass off and tuning into every single Mercury live stream throughout 2022. There were not even close to as many opportunities available. Now, granted, there's always a bull market somewhere. So something's going to be ripping. Some NFT collection is still going to be appreciating. Something is going to have some kind of hype cycle, some kind of narrative. A good one that I remember was Chili's somewhere around the World Cup, and it pulled a multi 100% move. So it multiplied 3 or 4x or 5x or whatever the hell it did. Oh, look at that. That's just one example. And that's just the one that comes to mind because that was the most recent that I can remember in 2022. I guarantee you there were dozens more in between all of that. This move on PTC from a 15% push upwards, Ethereum did 60%. Well, that was a one-off kind of thing. We hadn't seen Ethereum or BTC pull a 60% rally in like a year. We've pulled several in the past year. How many altcoins do you know that are trending in price discovery right now? How many altcoins do you know that have not even entered price discovery, but they're up hundreds of percentages in the past few months? Fetch.ai just entered price discovery today. Render just entered price discovery 2 days ago. Pepe is not even in price discovery yet. It's up 200% in like the past 4 days. Opportunities compound in this industry. You have to be a cheerleader for green candles. I don't care what your portfolio looks like. As more and more green candles get established and number go higher, and more of your friends and your buddies and your high school buddies that you don't talk to anymore and you really don't care about start to text you because now they're greedy fucks and they're interested in again, they are going to go to the one person that they know is actually affiliated with the space and hope that they can pick their brains and get some not financial advice, right? Yeah. When that time comes, it has to start with green candles. That is the attractive kind of appeal to this industry, to this market. That's what allows for more opportunities to flourish. You have to be a cheerleader. I don't care what your position is. But here's the other thing. Be careful comparing yourself to other people. So my dad used to always tell us in his native language, comparison is the murderer of satisfaction. But you've probably heard it, the same exact kind of quote as comparison is the thief of joy. So obviously one of those is a bit more extreme than the other, but regardless, comparison is both a thief and a murderer. This comparison guy, we need to catch him. Comparison is the murderer of satisfaction. That's the way that I like to think about it because it is more extreme. It murders any kind of satisfaction that you might have. It doesn't matter how allocated you are. I don't care if you've been holding BTC like I have for a year straight, or actually 2017, just dollar cost averaging, hodling for whenever it goes to whatever the hell it goes to. Next euphoria cycle top, whenever Justin Bieber starts flexing his Bored Ape again, you can probably bet I'm going to start to scale out of my ledger investments. It does not matter. If you're going to compare, there will always be someone to compare to, and you will always be unsatisfied. You will always be in that state of limbo where it doesn't matter how many hours in a day. Because, guys, I know a lot of you perceive me to be this like Marcus Aurelius himself and stoic dude. And, oh, yeah, I don't have any emotional attachment to the market. As long as market exists and I exist, I win. Yeah. Marcus Aurelius. That's actually pretty funny. Yeah, I know that that's what I come across as. And the honest reality is, if I give myself enough time, I can align with those thoughts. But I'm human just as much as you. I look at my Twitter timeline and I see people up $8 million in the past 3 months, and I'm like, damn, that could have been me. I absolutely could. I absolutely am in that mind state. And then that emotional maturity kicks in. Then the philosophies start to kick in. Then hey, I'm disciplined. I know better than this. I shouldn't kind of bite that forbidden fruit. I shouldn't dive into this losing kind of mentality, this loser's mindset, these losing philosophies. I shouldn't allow myself to be unsatisfied. I should be more of a gratitude maximalist. Man, am I so grateful. I had a health issue last year. I got past it. My mom had breast cancer. She got past it. She's all better now. We had, if I look back in the past 4 years of my life, I had some very scary moments in my life and in my parents' lives. We got past all of it. I had a sibling who had to have brain surgery. She got past it. Every single thing, we got past it. I'm still healthy. I woke up today. My biggest worry, hear me out. My biggest worry is that I'm not making as much money as I could be making. I don't give a fuck if I achieved all of my goals today. What I just told you is my dictation of generational wealth. I don't give two shits if I achieved it today. I would still feel as though I'm not making as much money as I could be making. Do we understand this? It's inevitable. Just be grateful for what you have. I have so many. Here's the irony in this. Grown men used to go to war. Now they ask me, hey, how do I reduce FOMO? Obviously, I'm exaggerating. That's a joke. You're supposed to laugh. Grown men used to go to war. Now they ask random cartoon characters on the internet, how can I stop being so FOMO? How can I stop succumbing to FOMO? You want to know how to stop succumbing to FOMO? Be grateful for what you already have. You want to know how to stop being such a greedy fuck and stop making impulsive decisions and stop putting yourself in positions where, oh shit, I'm reliant on something to happen. And now that something else is happening, even though it's -1, -2%, I'm freaking out and don't know what the hell to do with myself. Yeah, you want to know how to stop doing that? Just be grateful for what you have. When you have that deep sense of appreciation for not just you, your life, your health, your financial decisions, because let's be honest here, and the honest truth is, some of you are watching this on an iPhone 14, iPhone 15. Some of you are watching this on a desktop computer and your PC costs $1,000. You are, right from the get go, doing better off than 90% of people in the world. You have to find some kind of appreciation for that. Once you find that, here's the other thing. You find an appreciation for markets because regardless of what happens, more opportunity gets presented to you every single day. Whether number goes up, whether number goes sideways, whether number goes down, it does not matter. That is an opportunity. If number goes up, we're attracting more people. We are breaking new all-time highs. Coinbase and Robinhood are ranking up in the App Store ratings. People are starting to become more interested. Number goes sideways, altcoins get some relief. Number pulls back, you get a dip to buy. If you have the right frame of thinking, you have the ability to turn everything into a good thing. But it requires that level up in terms of your mental state. You have to be able to see things for what they actually are. Everything in this market, the market itself, is an opportunity and it is a luxury. We have to learn to appreciate that. We really do. It's the only way. There's something else I wanted to say and I lost my train of thought. Oh, if you have the mental state, if you have the ability to see that for what it is, you have that deep sense of understanding, then what comes time, and thank you to Ice Cream Man for actually bringing this up, Then it comes time to learn how to actually put it into practice. How is it that I'm able to sit here and tell you whether number go up, I'm euphoric. I feel grateful for the opportunity. Numbers start to go sideways and altcoins start to run, I'm euphoric. I feel grateful for the opportunity. If number pull back and we get a dip to buy, I'm euphoric. I'm grateful for the opportunity. How is it that I'm able to actually say that? It's not just because I can say it, it's because I know damn well I can execute off of it. I've experienced not just the past year, not just the past 2 years, and including 2022, not just the past bull market. I've experienced a lot in 2017 to today. In that span, think of how many catalysts, how many negative 50% drops, how many 30% daily candles we've had, how many mega pumps, how many meme coin rallies, how many. I've seen it time and time and time and time and time again. And look where I am. Portfolio new all-time high. Oh, you know what was happening here? Portfolio new all-time high. You know what happened here? Portfolio all-time high. You know what happened here? Portfolio all-time high. You know what happened here? Portfolio all-time high. Actually, I think it was over here. Portfolio all-time high. Portfolio all-time high. Not anywhere over here. Portfolio all-time high. Portfolio all-time high. The winner's mindset gets compounded. The ability to ebb and flow with whatever the market is doing consistently and be consistently accurate. And here's your bingo card, have the comprehensive ability of little Timmy, the 4-year-old. The ability to say, wow, that's heading to the top right corner. Wow, that's heading to the bottom right corner. Wow, that's heading to the top right corner. That. The ability to say and execute off of those things allows me to ebb and flow with whatever the market is doing. It allows me the comfortability to adapt to whatever the market does, regardless of its movements. So then, if the practice is there, if the execution is there, because the trading system is, I just ebb and flow with whatever the fuck the market is doing, and the mindset is, every single thing that happens is always an opportunity as long as you frame it in the right way, then markets are abundant. This is a luxury. We get the opportunity to come and approach markets and utilize them as a tool so that we can win over time. My last ramble, because I don't have a BTC analysis for you, because it's the same analysis we've been saying. My last rant is do not try and force your own success. The market will humble. It is the greatest equalizer. If you have a shitty approach, you will get rewarded with shitty results. If you play stupid games, you will win stupid prizes. Unfortunately, many of us, or many of people that you know, or many of your Twitter timeline that is euphoric, or the people that are sharing P&L with you, which is why is why we should not compare. I do have a story for you guys after this. Many of them are winning. We love to see that. We should be cheerleaders for people that win, even if it's a coin that I'm not in. Anyone that caught Pepe, I use the meme every single day. I did not buy the coin. If you're in the coin, I'm happy for you. Because guess what? As Radical Cowboy said, is he in here right now? Radical? Yeah, he is. I love this. This is the first time I've ever heard this, and Lenny probably heard it too. As a poker player, if somebody else wins a big pot, you're happy about it because the money is still in the game and it might flow back to you at some point. It's never, oh man, I wish I was, I wish I wouldn't have folded. Man, I wish I would have called. Oh, you won? Cool. Maybe next turn I get to take some of your chips and flow them back to me because I am the rightful owner of those chips. You just don't know it yet. I fucking love that philosophy, man. That's a beautiful way to think about it. You guys caught Pepe. You're euphoric on Pepe. Guess what? I use the meme every single fucking day. I did not catch it. I don't even know the last time I've had a Pepe position in terms of spot allocation or even taken a swing trade on it. Couldn't tell you. But the coin is up like 300% in 4 days. I'm euphoric about it. I'm so happy for you. You know why? Because now you're going to take those profits and you might rotate it to bonk, or you might rotate it to whiff, or you might rotate it to Doge, as some of you are calling out Doge is starting to rally today in community charts channel and whatnot. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't catch Pepe, but I'm still being presented with more opportunities and I'm happy for you. Euphoric about it. Here's the unfortunate reality. A lot of what you see, this is why we don't compare, a lot of what you see is winners, people winning on Pepe. Hey, look, I'm up $1 million kajillion on Pepe. Let me show you, let me flex this P&L card on you. That's cool. But their strategy was to buy the 5-minute 200s. And then when they get retested, they double down their position size. They buy it again. And it gets tested again, and they buy it again. And it gets tested again, they buy it again. They're compounding their position. Yay. Wow, that's a winning strategy, actually. We should look to do those things. Oh, wait a minute. But they double down again, and now they have no risk management. And now when the 5-minute 200s break, they lose it all. Then they market close a position, and they accept a certain amount of profit. They're still up, not $1 million kajillion dollars, but maybe it's $1 million zillion dollars now. Okay, they locked in $1 million zillion dollars. Cool, good for them. Oh, but then the coin bounces 5%. Oh, okay, so now they're going to buy back in. Oh, never mind, the coin is down again. Oh, they're going to sell it again. I told you guys a story about the dude who I went to high school with. I tell you guys this all the time. Went to high school with him. In the last bull market, he joined crypto and he started buying Dogecoin at, I don't even know what price, right? A penny, 2 pennies, 3 pennies, 4 pennies, somewhere below 10 cents. He entered with like 10K, and I don't know what strategy he was using, or maybe he just got in so early that he just held the entire way. But that 10K turned into like $1.1 million. This is someone who I was never really friends with, but I was close enough with them, right? We would have like interactions. I'd see them at football games, whatever. They knew who I was. I knew of them, whatever. Not a friend. No friend would ever say what they said to me. Don't you dabble in crypto? Like, isn't this your field of expertise? Isn't this your thing? Like, haven't you been spending the past like few years of your life like in crypto? Doesn't it make you feel bad that I just joined a couple months ago and I've already outperformed you? And I already have $1 million to my name. Doesn't that make you feel kind of bad? Ask me where they are today. Still working their 9 to 5. Unfortunately, they did not go to college. They did not stick with the crypto mentality and start to learn a winning philosophy. They did not. Yeah, I can't imagine saying something like that to someone else either. But you'd be surprised what greed does to your ego. You'd be surprised what easy mode and a portfolio that vindicates that ego can do to you and make you say and make you think. I don't blame that person. But the market humbled them. The market is the greatest equalizer. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That person would probably be a lot better off mentally had they never entered crypto in the first place than had they entered with 10K, ran it up to a 1.1 million, and then exited with 0. Probably would have been a lot better off. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. A lot of you are winning. A lot of the people that you see are winning, but they're winning as losers. You need to understand that. This is the same thing every single time. It happens in every single cycle. Somebody gets put on a pedestal and preached as a god, and then they get torn down because the market is the greatest equalizer. And if you play stupid games, you will win stupid prizes. There are so many stories. Unfortunately, I have more stories for you of people who blew up and fell victim to that exact thing, winning but as a loser, than I do people who've actually succeeded. That is a very, very unfortunate reality. Do not succumb to bad practices. Make sure that you're staying level headed. I understand that things are euphoric and this is what we're here for. And now we're being vindicated. We get to point at the bankers and say, we win. We do. We absolutely do. We won. I don't care what happens from here. We won. That feels good. It feels good to see the thesis that I took on 7 years ago start to be vindicated further as time goes on with price, with the market, with the environment, with regulations. It feels good. I love that. I'm not going to lose sense of who I am. I'm not going to start to deviate from my risk management. I'm not going to start to slip up on my own psychology, my own discipline. I will never do those things. And here's the caveat to that. Because I will never do those things, I'm not going to say, oh, sorry, guys, no streams this week because I retired. In between last week when I was a pleb and I was still grinding my ass off and wanted to come in every single live stream, oh, I could hire somebody and have them do the streams. No, I'd rather do it myself. I'd rather make the content myself. I'd rather do the daily market updates myself. Oh, yeah. A week later, sorry, guys. See ya. See ya. Generational wealth. I'm going to buy a private island. That's not going to happen. I can guarantee you that is not going to happen. I'm not going to just up and change my life tomorrow or next week or maybe even next month. It's just not going to happen. Here's the trade off. I will always be here in these streams as long as I want to be. The market is never going to wreck me. You're never going to experience a time where, oh, sorry, guys, I need a mental health break today because I got liquidated. Sorry, guys, whole account went to zero. All of my hard years and years and years of work. Sorry, can't join the stream today. Need a mental health break. It's not going to happen. So, no, I'm not going to change my life tomorrow. I'm not going to force my own success because I'm not a degenerate. But that also means that I will always be here. When the tides do start to turn, when your inherent fears that are sitting in the back of your mind, what if we triple top? What if it's a Bitcoin triple top? Did anyone ever consider that? Look how overextended we are. This is a parabolic expansion. What if this is the top and we go to zero from here and there's a recession and it's actually a black swan and COVID picks up again? Sure, guess what? Maybe all that stuff does start to happen. You know who's still going to be here doing live streams? Me. You know who's not? The dude who ran up his account from 10K to 1.1 million in the span of 3 months. It's the same thing every single time. This is the beauty of it. The market is different, but it's always the same. It's different, but it's always the same. It's always the same philosophies. It's always the same approaches. It's always the same concepts. It's always the same winner's mentality. It's always the same, oh, it's weakness. No, it's not. I'm sorry. Oh, it's lag. No, it's not. It's actually weakness. It's always the same. Everything is exactly the same every single time. The only thing that's different, hey, it's 2024. Hey, we're breaking out of all-time highs. Oh, but the all-time high this time is 69K. Last time, it was 20K. Oh, the time before that, it was 3K. Oh, the time before. It's the same thing every single time. If you've been here as a crypto native, whether or not you've been doing excessively well, uh, whether or not you consider yourself to be a honed in, proper kind of trader that can extract value from the market, even if you've been here day in, day out, you know what crypto is, you know what blockchain is. If I told you, hey, go sign up for this airdrop today, you would have some kind of comprehensive ability to be able to do that. You at least know how to log into your MetaMask wallet. You at least know how to bridge to that different chain. You at least know, these things. You have an edge. You do. That experience is your edge. Utilize it. You understand this stuff. It's not complicated, even though it is. When we look beneath the surface, the reality of it all is that there's a million cogs turning at any given time. Unfortunately for us, it is impossible to understand how each and every single one of those cogs turn at any given time and how they turn in harmonious kind of fashion, how each one is turning with each other, how quickly they're turning. Are they turning counterclockwise or clockwise? It's impossible to assess each one of those millions and millions and millions of cogs turning all at the same time. It's complex. At any given time, there are institutional investors, there are institutions, there are hedge funds, there are VCs, there are algorithms, there are other retail participants, all trading at the exact same time. People smarter than you, people that have more money than you, all of that. It's all there. We have the ability to whittle it down, make it simple, simplify it to our guts, simplify it to our heads, justify it to our guts, simplify the system, simplify the execution, the way of thinking, the philosophies, the analogies. You do all of that in a simple manner. We just respect trends. That's it. We just ebb and flow with whatever the fucking trend is. We just have the ability to apply context. Oh, hey, we're downtrending on this time frame. Oh, but we're uptrending on the other one. Oh, but we're sideways on this one. Oh, but we're uptrending on that one. There you go. That's your context. Little Timmy, the 4-year-old, knows what the market is doing. You know how this market tends to operate just from however long you've been here. BTC rotation, ETH rotation, ETH beta rotation. Okay, now NFTs are going to pop off. Oh, things that are typically harder to get access to and take a little bit more work tend to pump harder because people are lazy as shit, even though they're really, really greedy, and the greed only kicks in later on. And yeah, you get all this stuff. You know all of it. It's not news to anyone. The first short that you took in a long time. Congrats. That's your edge. The edge is simplifying things, utilizing our own experience, understanding. Listen, even if you know what it's like to lose money, that isn't an edge. That is an experience. If you know what it's like to make a good amount of money and even lose money, that's your edge. You now have the guts and the experience to call back to for the next time. Please understand this market is abundant. It is abundant with opportunity. It is everywhere. Do not feel like you're not doing enough. You probably are. Okay? Just a matter of framing it in a different perspective. So, BTC, actual price action. What do you want me to tell you? It's the same trend. It's the same trend. It's the same trend. It's the same trend. We said down here, wait, so you're telling me, market, you're telling me that I was bearish here, I flipped bullish here, and now that I'm bullish again, and we're breaking out of the range, and if it looks like a breakout, smells like a breakout, trades like a breakout, it's probably a breakout. If it looks like an uptrend, trades like an uptrend, smells like an uptrend, it's probably an uptrend. You're telling me, market, I get to apply the same stupid fucking 4-year-old comprehensive ability that I did here for these 3 months, and I get to run it back turbo all over again and make the exact same arguments here today too. Plan A part 2. Run it back turbo. I'm filling in some of that bingo card for you. You're welcome. First one to call bingo gets a cookie. That's what you're telling me, market? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Hey, if it ends up being a deviation, oh well, we're playing chess. In order for me to consistently adapt to whatever happens in next from here, I have to call the breakout a breakout. I have to say the uptrend is an uptrend. I have to have at least the comprehensive ability of a 4-year-old. And then if I end up being wrong and the market says, haha, just kidding, psych, that's okay, because literally negative 3% later, I get to come back in hindsight and say, oh, I was bullish at the top again, of which I have been every single time for the past 4 years. I've been bullish at every single fucking top you see on this chart. Oh, by the way, portfolio all-time high today. Never been richer than I currently am today on February 28th of 2024. Yep, here I am, bullish at every single top and bearish at every single bottom. That's what you're telling me, market. Okay, level to level. So we said above 44K, probably go to 50. Level to level. Oh, we're above 50K? All right. Well, I mean, the little low time frame analysis is that we're trading in a stupid little 3% range. But in terms of high time frame, we're still perfectly fine and bullish. We absolutely could flip this zone into support, break out of that stupid little 3% range, and head to whatever the next level is. Next level, 59K. Hey, by the way, 59K is the all-time high supply zone. If we break out of 59K, I would imagine we go to all-time highs. There's really not too much stopping us from getting there. So from here to there, I don't have another daily level for you. There's no daily resistance level here. Oh, Mercury, we just tapped 64K and that's a 4-hour supply zone. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, that's fine and all. In terms of daily levels, I don't have anything for you. So when we're looking at the daily, we go level to level, level to level, level to level. Oh, we broke out of this level, we go to the next. Oh, we broke out of that level, we go to the next. Oh, we broke out of that level, we go to the next. We broke out of that one, go to the next. Broke out of that one, go to the next. Broke out of that one, go to the next. Broke out of that one, where do we go? Where's the next level? It doesn't exist. To me, you might see it differently. I don't care. It's all vanity. But to me, there is no next level. There's no, oh, what to target after this. So this is where the price discovery comes in. The fib extensions, the hey, it's a random magic number and we just made it up. We go from that high to this low, all-time high to market cycle low. We start to target these fib extensions. Guess what? I'm now the bullet, right? Most bullish bull that you know, and I'm now the moon boy because I'm gonna call for $102,000 Bitcoin, the 1.618 fib. Here's what I need you to understand. Everything that I just told you, hey, we go level to level, level to level, level to level, level to level. Everything that I'm telling you now, oh yeah, so next level, $102,000. Everything that I'm telling you. Here's price. Here's my confidence in direction. So when I'm telling you, hey, above 44K, we go to 50. Hey, above 50, we go to 59. Hey, above 59, we go to 60. I'm sorry, we go to 60. We go to 100. It's all the same confidence. Here's price, though. Here's the y-axis as I'm telling you this. It's changing, but my analysis is the same. The context is the same. The key levels are the same. The momentum is the same. The direction is the same. Everything is exactly the same. Why would my confidence waver when nothing's changed? Nothing has changed. You can't even break down below a stupid, measly 3% range, Bitcoin. I'm probably not going to shift my bias all too much. Oh, but that's not true, Mercury. We did shift our bias. We started to acknowledge, hey, on some time frame, we are going neutral. And maybe that neutrality is actually some kind of like low time frame distribution, and we get like a local top and we pull back and we can look for that pullback along 4-hour 200s. Sure, you're absolutely right. Yeah, because we have to remain malleable. We have to have the ability to adapt to whatever price is doing. Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so we did change, we did waver, but you can only see it when you zoom in. Here's us changing our confidence in the trend because of the 3% range. That was it. There you go. That's the oh yeah, by the way, on low time frames we're ranging on a 3% basis. So every time frame is not actually bullish. I can tell you that every time frame is bullish because really who the fuck cares about a 3% range? This is not me telling you this today. I was telling you as we were trading in the 3% range, right? Oh yeah, who cares about a 3% range? We have to overanalyze. I have to give you this low time frame analysis. I have to overcomplicate things. Yeah. Sure. We have to remain able to adapt to whatever happens next. And if that's the case, we have to analyze the 3% range. So Mercury, it wasn't that we remained the same confidence level the entire time and we never wavered. We acknowledge the range. We acknowledge the neutrality. It might lead to a snowball of bearishness, and then that from there we might break down below the 4-hour 200s, and then from there we might break down below the range highs at 45K, and then from there we lose the 200 dailies, and then from there we lose and we go to zero. Yeah, sure, we acknowledge that. Here you go. There's your acknowledgement. Zoom back out. Did we ever really change our bias all too much? No. Why? Because it's all the same. Everything is exactly the same. So all that's changing is the y-axis. So instead of 44 to 50 or 50 to 59, all that's changing is 60 to 102. The analysis is the same. The concept is the same. The philosophies are the same. The system is the same. Everything is exactly the same. Nothing changed. Just the y-axis. Don't ever think that I'm getting more bullish just because the y-axis is changing, or I'm getting more bearish because the y-axis is changing in the downside direction. Don't ever think that. It's not the case. Not necessarily the case. All right. So unless we're talking crazy extended blow off tops, if we go to 150 50K Bitcoin, sometime next week, I might say, oh, we might be overextended. I don't know. That might be a little bit too extreme. I might start to take some profit, even though Justin Bieber isn't flexing his Bored Ape just yet. Sure, there are nuances, there are exceptions to that idea. Those are the extremes of the extreme. You're here for the extreme, not the blow off top. Before the blow off top, there's a very crazy, overextended parabolic rally that you cannot fathom into the blow off top. Before the capitulation, there's a very crazy downside and drawdown and downtrend into that. And there's several capitulations into that capitulation. So the extremes of the extremes are the only real caveats and nuances to confidence doesn't change just because the y-axis did. Do not think that I'm doubling down on my analysis. I need to add more to my position because now I'm even more confident in price going higher. No. From 44K to 61 where we're trading now, the analysis has not changed. Not once. The confidence has not changed once. It's the same arguments. If you adhere to that kind of way of thinking, you refute the ability to live the life cycle of a turkey. Here's what I mean by that. This is another bingo card, by the way. That's price. Here's your confidence. Price goes up, your confidence goes up with it. Price goes down, your confidence goes down with it. Price goes to here, except eventually this trend breaks. We know that. All trends break. So that's the trend break. That's where price is. Price is doing something like this. Oh, it doesn't matter. We're still up 30% from where that trend started. Here's your confidence, and here's what your portfolio reflects. Life cycle of a turkey. Man, life was good. We were enjoying it because the trend was trending, but eventually that trend broke one time, and now here we are sitting on a Thanksgiving table being eaten for dinner. Back to zero. Life cycle of a turkey. Hold on, wait. There's a tweet that I need to go retweet and claim clout on. There's a tweet, guys. We're going to pause the stream because there's a tweet that I need to tweet. Okay? Because I called this. Hold on. You're all going to see it. It's the open interest tweet. It absolutely is. Nothing changes, man. Everything is the same. Some things just never change. What I mean by this, by the way, is crypto has a tendency to, here's the trend. (10 to 20% of all open interest, which open interest mean open futures contracts get wiped out in this move. How? How is that even possible? So the quant, she called it, my puppy. How long does it take to usually recover and resume trend? I don't really have an answer for you, unfortunately. Can't really say. It's not my forte. You got liquidated on your spot position. Man. Unbelievable. This market is so funny. Yep. We'll just uptrend 400% in the span of a year. Oh yeah, by the way, this move is the biggest liquidation candle in all of crypto history. Oh, I can't even see the move. I have to squint. Wait, I still can't see it. Hold on, let me zoom in. Wait, hold on. Oh, that way. Okay. That is the biggest. It happens all the time. So again, everything that I just said, people living the life cycle of a turkey, that's happening right now. Literally right now, this is happening. We're witnessing it in real time. That's why I had to go claim cloud of my tweet. It's a time sensitive kind of thing, right? Okay. Let's move on. So Ethereum, same thing, level to level. We said breakout of 2400, break out of this range, reclaim the 4-hour 200 moving averages, probably allows us to just simply continue the uptrend into whatever the next resistance level is. And in this case, for Ethereum, the next resistance level was $3,400 supply zone. That's that supply zone. Above here, I don't really see too much of resistance levels. Maybe there, right? Maybe like somewhere 4,100-ish. And then above that region, that would be, we would kind of just assume all-time highs, because where's the next resistance? There's not really much resistance in that region. So this would be the all-time high supply zone for Ethereum. This is just a very, very key daily resistance at the moment. So same kind of thing, same gist. Everything's exactly the same. Same analysis, same concepts, and same accuracy. Said number will go up into whatever the next level is, and here we are trading at the next level. We'd love to see it. We applied a 4-year-old way of thinking. Number go top right corner. Maybe it'll continue going top right corner. And then it did. Congratulations. Regardless of what happens from here, you need to be a winner. Whether number continues to go up or whether we start to prioritize the resistance and trends start to break down. Oh, we're losing the 30-minute 200s. Oh, we're losing the 4-hour 200s. I don't care. You have to have the ability to adapt to that. Remember that this is just a resistance level, by the way. We don't make money by trading resistances. Well, you do. You make money by trading resistances. You make wealth, you generate wealth by trading trends. So I'm always going to prioritize the trend. This resistance is no more or less meaningful to me than this one was, which is no more or less meaningful to me than this one was, which is no more or less meaningful to me than this one was. They're all the same kind of gist. Everything's exactly the same. So we're going to say the same things. We're going to apply the same concepts. We're going to continue to adapt to whatever that trend is. Oh my God, that's a beautiful retest of 30-minute 200s. Look at this trend, by the way. That's the local trend we've been watching. So anyone who managed to catch a nice little wick into this trend, because the trend is still trending, congrats to you. You're already up nice. Nice little scalp play for anyone. But as long as this trend does not break, I don't have even a single bearish argument for you. Not in terms of actual snowballs that we could execute off of and adapt with. There's nothing like that. But of course, there is always going to be clumps of snow on the ground waiting for you to come and start building them into snowballs. Of course, that is the case. Duh. Every trend is going to break down at some point. Every trend is going to reverse. It's always the same thing. Markets always do one thing and then they do the opposite to that thing. Congrats, genius. Yeah. So, of course, there's going to be something to start building the bearish argument off of, a resistance level. But that bearish argument actually doesn't come into play until we start to break down below that trend. So if that can't even happen, then for all I know, This is not any more or less of a top than that, or that. And none of them were tops. They were local tops. They shouldn't have really wavered your confidence in the trend all too much. And then we just continued higher anyways. You make money by trading resistances. You generate wealth by trading trends. Big difference there. My quant is adorable. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's talk about ETH BTC. ETH BTC is starting to get even choppier. Choppy. Maybe some kind of consolidation. Maybe even some kind of weird range inside of a range. Very odd. Very, very odd price action for ETH BTC. So not going to try and overanalyze this too much. Just call it for what it is. It's an ugly chart. It is hideous. It is absolutely hideous. It is chop inside of chop. It is screw that range high. We're going to, deviate back above and then break out below and then whatever. I said that backwards, but you get what I mean. It is, hey, we're supposed to continue higher, but actually we're going to lock in a lower high and then immediately break right back down. Yeah. It's not an amazing looking chart. So we're going to refrain from making analysis on this too much. Thank God that there's a USD pair and we don't have to rely on the BTC one. Thank God the USD pair exists and the trend in the analysis there is very clear and very clean and very actionable. So we're going to refrain from overanalyzing this too much to the point where we hurt ourselves because we think too hard. And instead, we're going to move on. SPY continues to track into price discovery. No breakdowns here, no weakness. You can't even lose 30-minute 200 moving averages as a local trend. I don't have a bearish argument for you. So same thing as always. Same thing at least for the past 4 months or so. And 4 months later, the winner's mindset continues to win. So yeah, that's where the analysis stops. Here's the part where I let you guys take over. So any questions, any comments, any TA requests, anything that you guys want from me, please feel free. TP percentage based on fib extension level, taking more off as we go higher. That's a good question. Unfortunately, you're not going to like the answer that I give you. You are not going to like the answer that I give you. The answer that I'm going to give you is it's all pros and cons. Almost. There we go. All right. So when you're looking for fib extensions as a take profit, you have to remind yourself of why you're here. You are here for the euphoria stage. You are here for, and I say this all the time, crypto traders specifically spend 100% of the time waiting for the 10% of the time that the market is incredibly extreme. You spend 100% of your bear market, 100% of the sideways, watching the live streams when you know damn well we've been spending the past couple of weeks trading in a 4% range. All that time you spent waiting for the 10% of the time where things are ripping into price discovery and everything and everyone is euphoric. Number go up, multiples, go mint an NFT, any NFT, it's up 10x the next day, even if you got a floor trait NFT. That's what we're here for. So we got to remind ourselves of that. So when you're taking profit at these fib extensions, I would imagine that you are accounting for that to some degree. You're probably not going to just say, oh, okay, I know that I'm targeting infinity. and I have a position on INJ from $14, but I'm going to close 80% of my position at the 1.618. You're probably not going to do that. So if you did that, you'd actually say, Mercury, you're an idiot. I should have closed 80% of my position at the 1.618. Because down here, when we're trading at $30, wait a minute, that's a negative 30% pullback. Mercury, what the fuck? You told me not to take a bulky amount of position off at the 1.618 and to continue targeting 65, 88, 103, 166, 270. You told me to do that, but the 1.618 was the top, and then we pulled back negative 30, negative 40%, and I could have bought back lower. I could have re-entered along 4-hour 200s. I could have done this. I could have done that. I could have. What the hell? Variance. So dictating how we should operate every single time moving forward based off of a small sample size. Variance, succumbing to variance. As someone said, fooled by randomness. So you have to find the nice, graceful kind of balance where you are taking profit at key levels, in this case fib extensions, because when you're in price discovery there are no key levels, there's no resistance overhead, it's untracked territory, it's blue skies, uncharted waters, however you want to think about it. You have to make sure that you're justifying your take profits at key levels and able to actually allow yourself to be rewarded, because you cannot profit from this market unless you take profit. But at the same time, you can't lose the moon boy mentality. You can't contradict the entire premise as to why you're here. You can't start to succumb to the bear arguments of, oh, that's a double top. Oh, that's a look at the 4 hour bear div on RSI. Oh, we're overextended. Oh, the RSI is actually overbought. You can't succumb to that stupid little petty bullshit, because the same people saying that at the 1.618 are the same people that were saying that on the way up into the 1.618, which are the same people that said it here, which are the same people that said it there. It's a losing mindset. So we have to find the nice little balance between taking profit, because we know damn well we cannot profit from this market unless we take profit. But at the same time, you can't contradict and downplay and allow yourself to underperform during the environment of which you spent 100% of your time waiting for. You have to allow yourself to be rewarded, because guess what happens? Eventually, INJ does top out. And all the people that have been saying that since here or since there are finally right. And we don't hold the 4-hour 200s, and we do continue breaking down. And we do start to lose those range lows. And then we do lose the 200 dailies. And then we do go to zero. There's going to come a time, don't tell Defs why I said that, but there's going to be that time where the market pulls back to a deeper extent and it feels like it's going to zero, even if it's not. And it goes to $1 instead. It's going to come. And you are going to, one, make sure, I would hope, that you saw some kind of profit. And two, you're still going to have been rewarded from that moon boy mentality. You're going to have milked as much as you possibly could from the market environment prior, so much so to the point where when things start to break down, it doesn't really affect you all too much. So here's the thing in crypto that you have to be able to navigate, especially with things that are in price discovery. Your net worth is going to jump. And I remember talking to Pierre Crypto about this in 2019 or 2020. I remember tweeting something along the lines of, my brain cannot keep up with how quickly my net worth is changing. So what I mean by that is, imagine where everything in psychology, especially trading, is such a rabbit hole. I'm a trend trader, right? So that means that I make my money in extreme trends. I quite literally curated my entire system, so much so to the point where I'm playing into the 10% of the time. That's what I'm 100% guaranteed to thrive off of. If I'm not doing that, then it is not a fault in my system. It is a fault in my execution. So as long as I really hone in on my execution, how I'm thinking about things, how I'm justifying risk, all that kind of stuff, how I'm finding entries, how I'm hiding invalidations. As long as I'm able to do that and really hone in on my execution, my system will always be on the right track. So it will never be a fault in the system. This is why this is curated. So I really emphasize on trend trading environments. That's where my system thrives. That's where I thrive. That's where I make my money. So you might look at my portfolio and we're doing fuck all for 2 months straight because we're trading a 3% range. And then suddenly, whereas I've had very minimal profits prior because there's only so many altcoins that are ramping up and finding strong trends and this and that and whatever, and I'm only catching a certain extent of that and blah blah blah. 2 months go by, my P&L is kind of like, it's like mostly sideways, maybe slightly upwards. And then, shoop, just everything just starts to take off. So a small amount of time is accounting for a big um, monetary shift in my portfolio. So the time factor is kind of weird. So what I told Pierre in 2018 or 2020 was my brain cannot keep up with how quickly my P&L is changing, how quickly my net worth is changing. And he resonated with that. He was having the same exact kind of issue. Imagine a time period where you spend a year trading and your performance does not really shift all too much. Right? You maybe go down 10% net worth, maybe go up 20 or 30% net worth. Maybe for some of you, that's a lot. In 2019, I'm not trading with even a fraction of what I'm trading with now. So it wasn't that much. And then suddenly, in the span of like 3 months, your portfolio goes up, let's say 3 or 4x. Now, suddenly, let's say you had $1,000 portfolio size, you're up 10x in the span of 3 months, and now you lose 10% of your portfolio. So you have a $9,000 portfolio now. But only 3 months have gone by, and you're losing that negative 10% that you're losing is the same size as what your net worth was 3 months ago. Your brain is still mentally attached to what your net worth was 3 months ago. That $1,000 that you lost, albeit it's only negative 10% of your portfolio, that $1,000 that you lost is going to affect you way more than you could ever possibly fathom. It's going to happen. If that's the experience that you have, those are good experiences. You don't realize it, but that means that you're doing well. That means that you have done phenomenally well. You have milked an efficient amount from the trend. What I'm trying to say, the point that I'm trying to get at is when things are trading in price discovery, you have to really hone in on that balance factor of really nailing here's an appropriate amount of take profit at this region. I'm still going to allow myself to play into the premise as to why I'm here in the first place moving forward for the next fib and the next fib and the next fib and the next fib. You are going to see a time, maybe not INJ, but maybe some other coin, where you run out of fib targets. We go past the 11.09. That is going to happen. When we get there, and when the 4-hour 200s break and they hold as a downtrend portrayal, when we then start to break down below the range, when we then start to lose 200 dailies, when we then start to blow up exchanges because people aren't, exchanges get greedy and they start to, not hold reserves 1-to-1 like FTX. Yeah, when all the outside factors start to come into play, when all the projects that you've been investing in blow up, when they get hacked, when whatever regulation happens and they have to, get forced to shut down or whatever the fuck, you have to more than overcompensate for all of those things. So that by the time your net worth goes from 1K to 10K in 3 months, you draw down that portfolio negative 10%, you're back at 9K. And one of those stupid little bullshit things that are totally out of your control happen, and you don't have anything to say about it. Sorry, your exchange blows up. Sorry. Oh, by the way, your DEX was not actually DEX. Sorry about it. Oh, it got hacked. Sorry. Whatever funds you deposited onto a DEX to then have on that DEX. Oh, yeah, the DEX got hacked. Sorry. Nothing you can do. Nope. No refunds. Sorry about it. Now it's only 8K. When that happens, what the fuck? I lost 2 times my net worth from 3 months ago. That's what your brain is going to be focused on. The same way that today, I don't care how much money you're up, how euphoric you are, your brain is currently focused on, man, if I would have bought this, if I would have held that NFT, if I would have bought here, if I would have executed here, if I wouldn't have sold this early, if I would have done that, would have done that, I'd be making more money. Everything in markets is an ebb and a flow, an ebb and a flow, an ebb and a flow, push and pull. Every single action has that reaction. You have to not just play the game two-dimensionally. You have to play that extra dimension as well. You have to play chess. You have to make your move today, also accounting for not just your opponent's move, but your move after their move as well. Please understand what I'm saying. Maybe I'm getting these thoughts across pretty piss poor. This is the first time I'm trying to really put it into words this way, but please understand, you have to find a good balanced standpoint to both at the same time take profit because you know that you cannot profit from this market unless you take profit, and allow yourself to be the moon boy or moon girl, which is the entire fucking premise as to why you joined the space in the first place. Oh my God, I cannot emphasize that enough. You're all here for the 10x. Yet when we watch a coin go up 10x and we're not in it, our brains immediately go to, is this a good short opportunity? Wait, I literally joined this space because I understand that the thing that's up 10x can go up another 10x from there. But now that it's up 10x and everyone is strong and it's pumping and it has a ton of momentum and all my friends are talking about it, and oh yeah, everyone else is shorting it too. Should I short it? Doesn't make any sense. So a lot of this comes back to play into the entire premise as to why you're here. Remember that. We are here for the 10x, for the 50x, for the 100x. You cannot get that if you're emotional pansy and you market close when you're up 5%. So maybe not that extreme, but you can't get that if you're taking profit. 80% of your profit gets taken off at the 1.618, even though in this particular outcome, that would have been the right move to make. You would have been rewarded for making that move because then price pulls back -30, -40% from there. You would hate me for having told you this prior and then knowing what happens thereafter. You would love me had we done this. We can't allow our winners, our dictation of a winning mindset, of a winning approach, be strayed or be swayed, by variance, by short-term sample sizes. What is the actual approach on a long-term basis consistently? If we approach this way time and time and again over time, it's likely that we will be incredibly rewarded. So finding that balance standpoint, taking some profit, because you cannot profit from this market unless you take profit, but allowing yourself to think logarithmically and play into the reasons to why you're here in the first place. Okay. Sorry for spending so much time ranting about that, but that is a very important concept. I cannot stress that enough. Most of you, 90% of you watching this right now, probably myself included, because that's the way statistics work, most of you are going to make most of your money from coins that are in price discovery. Please understand me when I say that. That's where you're going to get most of your generational wealth. Oh my God, I can't believe my account is up this much. When things are in price discovery, no one knows how high it goes. It's up 10x. It absolutely could go up another 10x. That's quite literally the reason as to why you're here. So you got to nail down some kind of price discovery approach and be able to trek those waters. And guys, man, oh man, I cannot say this enough. This is where I get to come back and go, ha ha, hoo hoo, to all the people who spent all the time prior to when Bitcoin was threatening a breakout into new all-time highs, watching streams, reading daily market updates, practicing, executing off of trends, finding their own system. I told you this, I told you this, I told you this. If you're just now watching a stream today for the first time, unless you just recently joined, there's no excuse. I told you a million times over. This is practice mode. This is the gray zone. When things start to go up into extremes, people who are not practicing, not executing, not honing in on their own system, not trying to get down the emotional aspect of trading, not fine tuning their discipline, when those people start to find themselves in price discovery and things are crazy and incredibly volatile and there's trend deviations and there's ranges that start to form and the ranges don't get respected beautifully, and oh my god, what the hell do I do? They're going to struggle. But if you've been practicing, if you understand your system, if you understand your approach, if you can convince yourself that you do have a way of milking money from markets in an efficient manner and utilizing it as a tool, you've got the system down, you've got the psychology down, you've got all that down, it's going to be a lot easier. You're setting yourself up for success. It's hindsight for me saying it to you now. I can only hope that you've watched enough live streams and you've adhered to that kind of way of thinking enough leading up into now, to the point where you don't have a reason to loathe me for telling it to you today and, rubbing it back in your face today. All of that shit was practice for the environment of which you will probably make most of your money. Price discovery. Coin goes up, new all-time highs. We don't know how high it could possibly fucking go. It just continues to go up higher towards infinity until eventually something breaks. And until something breaks, you can't tell me why that coin won't go higher. That's how that mindset works. So Einstein says, Merc, what do you think about breakout trading, especially in this parabolic environment? I know it's not your style, but would love to hear your experience with it since I like your trading style / philosophy. That's a really good thought. So you're absolutely right. I don't trade breakouts. I typically do not trade breakouts. There are some exceptions to this idea. So when Ethereum was breaking out of that range, when Ethereum's starting to break out above this range and reclaim 4-hour 200s, I know that the analysis that's implied is we just go level to level. So then here's where there's 3 concepts that you need to remind yourself of in trading. Let me make sure I'm not probabilities. Oh, there we go. And then here's the third one. We know these two. These are easy. What the fuck does that mean? Probabilities, risk reward, your personal situation. This one is most important. Probabilities. The probability is that the trend will continue trending into whatever the next level is. The risk is, well, if I buy here, I'm buying the top, and then I'll know that I'm buying the top negative 7% lower. The reward is, well, I risk negative 7%, but I get 37%. So we have, if we draw this up in an actual setup, which we did discuss this trade idea. I don't think I sent a chart, but I did mention, hey, ETH reclaiming 4-hour 200s, breaking out of the range. There's a high time frame setup for you. There's tons and tons of high time frame setups. I do remember saying that. So we have a 5.5R reward or risk reward. Probabilities, we perceive the probabilities to be high. We have uptrend, 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 uptrend. Every single context is uptrend. Every single time frame is uptrending. We would perceive it to be, we have basically a full-fledged snowman only after we make a new all-time high for Ethereum do we start to add, do we actually have that full-fledged snowman? And all the difference there would be our confidence in trend would do this. Price discovery here. That's about as bullish as you can get. So that is truly the peak. And that's where we plateau until however, high Ethereum wants to go. But up until then, we are essentially as bullish as we can get. We essentially have the snowman. He just is missing the top hat. He's missing the carrot for a nose. He's missing the scarf. But that's okay. That's just a matter of going inside, grabbing those things, and throwing them on him. It takes 2 seconds. That's our probabilities, or at least our perceived probabilities. Our risk reward is very tangible. It's 5.5 R. So it's 5 R. Okay. Those two things are easy. Those two things dictate setups. The Trade Ideas channel, the Friday Altcoins Watchlist channel, all of that stuff. That's what you're used to. We just talk about this and this. Here's the most important one. Here's the one that I cannot help you with. That's the unfortunate reality. This one is the most important, and it's the one that I cannot help you with. You have to do it yourself. Nobody knows your personal situation better than you do. So I do not trade breakouts. But when my personal situation is, how would I feel if I watched Ethereum break out? I know the analysis, I know the perceived probabilities, I know what the risk reward is. What kind of state am I going to be in? Is my portfolio going to be in? What kind of emotions am I going to potentially provoke or invoke if Ethereum plays out with this analysis? Is my portfolio currently positioned in such a way where if Ethereum does do exactly what my analysis is saying that it should do, then I'm okay? Hear me out. When Bitcoin is breaking out of 45K, I've told you guys this a million times, I'm fine. Guess what? You want to know an insane statistic? Prior to 2023, I'd say probably 70, 80% of my wealth came from trading Bitcoin. In 2023, I've made more money than what I made the entire bull market cycle of 2020 and 2021. Of 2023, where I made more money in that year than I did the entire market cycle, the entire bull market cycle, last bull market. The majority of those profits came from the last quarter of that year, October into December. That's insane. Okay? That's insane in itself. Here's another statistic. Think about this. Previously, 70, 80% of my wealth was coming from trading Bitcoin. 2023, I made more money than I did the entire bull market last bull market cycle. In 2023, a majority of those profits came from the last quarter. I have not taken a single Bitcoin trade since July of 2023, when I'm closing out my position when we lose 4-hour 200 moving averages at like 29K. Since then, I have not taken a single Bitcoin trade. The reason? I don't need to. My personal situation is I own a good amount of Bitcoin, a sufficient amount. Bitcoin can go to 0 or to 1 million. If I never get to buy any more Bitcoin, I never get to put on another single Bitcoin trade, I'm okay. I'm totally fine. I'm good. I already counted for this. I've been a hodler longer than some of you have been in the space. I've been buying Bitcoin dollar cost averaging longer than some of you have been affiliated and even knew what Bitcoin was. Obviously, many of you have been here before me, but I'm good. I don't need to. I don't need to force a trade. Oh, sorry. There's just never been a really clean setup that I have really liked where these two things on Bitcoin have lined up beautifully. Good thing that my personal situation is we can go to 60K, we can go to 100, we can go to 500K, we can go to 1 million. I don't care. It's fine. As long as Bitcoin, or as long as I hold the Bitcoin that I hold, I'm good. I'm fine. When I ask myself the same exact question here for Ethereum, the answer is not the same. If Ethereum goes to 3,500, 3,400, which is what the analysis is, how do I feel about that? How does that make me feel? what kind of position am I in at that point? Do I feel coping? Do I feel like I'm sidelined? Do I feel like I'm not doing enough? Do I feel like I'm underexposed? Do I feel like this? Do I feel like that? Yeah, that is how I would feel. Does it seem worth it based on my personal situation? Can I actually justify the additional risk? Can I justify playing into that feeling and making sure that that feeling is never going to come into fruition and take on that risk? Can I justify that? Yeah, I can. So I don't trade breakouts, but I did. I bought $2,400 Ethereum. That's kind of my point. So again, play that game with yourself. Play ping pong with yourself, back and forth. Do that mental tug of war. Reassess what your own personal situation is. Think about how you are stanced and how you may be stanced in the event that something that you dictate to be reasonably probable actually comes into fruition. And then maybe after reconsidering your personal situation, you might come to the conclusion that it's worth taking action just for the sake of taking action. Or maybe the conclusion that I come to is the same as the one that I came to with Bitcoin, which is I don't need any action. Sure, this is my analysis. I don't trade breakout setups. I'm not comfortable with this position. This isn't a trade that I would usually take. And I don't need to because I own a sufficient amount of Ethereum. I could say that for Bitcoin. I did. I'm perfectly fine. I could not say that for Ethereum. So I executed. And wow, good thing I executed. Good thing I reassessed my personal situation. And I said, oh, wow, based on how my personal situation is, I would feel some kind of way if that analysis plays out. So let me play into that way of thinking. Let me execute off of these thoughts in some way, shape, or form. Pros and cons, pros and cons, pros and cons. There's never a right or wrong. I'm not right for buying the breakout on Ethereum. I'm not wrong either. I'm just playing into my set of pros and cons. Okay. Regardless of what happens here for Ethereum, whether that ends up being a breakout or if it ends up being a deviation when you go to zero from there, because everyone just decides, oh, I actually hate Vitalik. I don't like him anymore. If that's the case, that's okay. I'm playing into my set of pros and cons. I already pre-accepted that loss. I already preemptively accepted that. I already accepted those cons. That's perfectly fine. That's part of the decision-making process and assessing my personal situation and then taking that risk in the first place. You're absolutely right. I do not trade breakouts, but that is not to say that I will never trade a breakout. You see what I'm saying? And I think that you're onto something as well, which is when you're in this kind of environment, you're often going to find that this is the breakout pullback retest that you're going to get. And then the next breakout is right here. And that's the pullback into the previous high that you're going to get. And then that's the breakout. And this is the pullback into the previous high that you're going to get. And so on and so on and so forth. So these breakouts do continue to compound onto each other. And that one breakout ends up being one crazy leg upwards. You're going to see this across lots and lots of different altcoins throughout the market. It is bait for you to start putting in bad practices. A lot of it is bait for you to start practicing bad habits so that inevitably you do live the life cycle of a turkey. If Ethereum does this, we would still be up 12% from my entry. But if I practice bad habits along the way, I can ensure that I have no profit to show by the time that Ethereum pulls back into 4-hour 200s and gives a more ideal high time frame swing long opportunity. So just be mindful of that. This environment does reward breakout trades, but it also is baiting you into practicing bad habits. So every single time we break out, just ape market buy whatever. Eventually, what happens is we do this, and then we do that again, and then we do that again, and then oh, we swept the high. Just kidding, and we break down. eventually that's going to happen. So that practice gets punished eventually. So you can buy breakouts, you can have a rational kind of approach and way of thinking and philosophy, and you can start to tangify things and actually make sense of the actions that you're making. You can start to do that, but don't, because there's a very thin line where you're doing that as a rational market participant. You're still honing in on the philosophy, on the winning mindset, on having a balanced kind of standpoint and making sure that you have the ability to ebb and flow and be objective about things and adapt to whatever happens next. There's that. But a lot of those same qualities cross over with being a fucking degenerate who's being lulled into bad practices, who will inevitably get destroyed. So make sure you have that very, very clear dictation of which one you're being. A lot of that is your mindset, how much actual depth in terms of thinking you're willing to approach, you're willing to apply to that action before taking that action. So I say this all the time. A lot of us would be better off if prior to making financial decisions, you just stepped away for 30 minutes and then came back. Go play fetch with your puppy. Go read a book for a little bit. Go watch, the latest episode of your favorite show. Go do something. As you're doing that something, you're thinking about, do I want to buy Ethereum? It's breaking out of $2,400. Is it in my best interest to do that? Based on the way my portfolio is set up currently, if the analysis plays out, is it in my best interest to do that? Well, instead of logging into Bybit and just market aping right here, right now, let me go take my dog on a walk really quick. And by the time we come back, maybe I'll have an answer because I'll have given it that kind of respect that it deserves because it is a financial decision and it is going to impact me, not just my wealth, my portfolio, but also emotionally. It might dictate what kind of day I'm having tomorrow, whether I'm euphoric or whether I'm, down in the dumps. So let me show it some kind of respect. Let me at least go walk away for 30 minutes. After that 30 minutes, you come back. You know what? Yeah, I do want to make that decision. And with that decision, I've kind of, been able to justify here's the appropriate amount of position size that I'm willing to take with that bet. When you think about the market in that kind of way and manner, you're mitigating the ability for the market to dictate what kind of day you're having. Do we understand that? Because at that point, anything that happens, you have the ability to be objective about it, accept the pros or accept the cons, and then go from there. All right. So, hold on. Let me catch up. Does that help, Einstein? Oh, he left. He had to go. So does once Aptos. Okay. Lenny, I see your DM. I see you. Thanks for that. Yeah, Aptos breaking out. So level to level, we break out of this range, and we would hopefully be able to see some kind of high time frame trend. Probably gets chopped up and then only has started to get respected once again as of recent. And then now that we reclaim that trend, we had that momentum swinging into the top side of that range. We break out of the range, and from that breakout, we would say level to level. So far, so good. Level. This is next level. Basically, almost there. That's the analysis that I have for you. So, whatever that high time frame trend is, try and find it. I am going to say 4-hour 200s, and you're going to say, Mercury, what the hell? They get absolutely chopped up and destroyed. And you're right. They do. Good thing we have a systematic kind of approach to ensure that we have the ability to adapt to both a trending market and a consolidation or sideways trending market. Because if we didn't, we would not make money in markets, period. So eventually, you come to the realization that this is a sideways market. You could say consolidation, or you could even say a range, doesn't matter. And then eventually, we start to trend again. We start to, if you view it as a consolidation, we make that higher high, we break out. Now we're uptrending on that particular time frame now. We are then using 4-hour 200s as support. We then break out of that range. And no, this is not an actionable breakout. So unless you are the person who's buying the breakout, you're probably not making money off of this particular move, or you're already pre-positioned for that move. So you bought 4-hour 200s and bet that we would break out. Or you're the degenerate. You're the person practicing bad habits. You buy the breakout, and then we actually break out. So you're probably not being rewarded by that move. You're either pre-positioned or you're complete degen and betting that the breakout is going to actually be a breakout and putting yourself in a position where you are potentially buying a top. So there's that. But regardless, the breakout happens. The analysis is level to level. Okay. Unfortunately, there's nothing really actionable there. At least I can't imagine there is. So 4-hour 200s trend would have been high time frame trend. That would probably be the only way that would be able to justify being positioned prior to the breakout. The only other way than that would be buying range lows as a range trader, buying range lows, selling mid range, selling range highs, and betting on the breakout as well. Extending that thesis and allowing it to potentially continue rewarding you. So other than that, other than those two things, the only other thing that we can look for would be some kind of local trend portrayal that gets decently respected inside of that choppy range. So maybe hourly 200 moving averages, little local trend upwards, local trend downwards. Reclaim, nice trend upwards, trend downwards. Reclaim, trend upwards. That just so happens to be the breakout. So moving forward, if we're going to look for pullbacks on this kind of a time frame, what's the logical pullback zone in terms of local trend? Hourly 200s. If we live in a world where everything is rainbows and butterflies and dandelions, those hourly 200s are confluent with the range highs, and we pull back and we give not little Timmy, but the nerd who sits at his screens and reads Investopedia articles all day about technical analysis, and we say, well, actually, technically, that is the breakout pullback retest into our hourly 200s with range highs as confluence of support. Yeah, we give that. So technically, that's what we would look for. That would be the ideal kind of setup for that. Otherwise, if you're asking me for an Aptos analysis because you're feeling FOMO from here to here, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to sit here and overcomplicate, a 5-minute time frame and try and trade 1 minute 200 moving averages for a 40% white space zone, 30%. It's not my style. It's not really what I look to do. So all I have are trend trading systems. If that market or that asset, if Aptos does not give that hourly 200 pullback, or maybe even those 4-hour 200s once again someday, or even just a pullback into the demand zone, previous range highs as support, and look to flip that, there is no action that I can justify here. Unless it's, I have some kind of emotional attachment to Aptos, and I can justify it via my personal situation. I want to be an investor in it. I'm going to add it to my ledger and this and that. Bar any of that shit that we just talked about, and going even deeper into that like reality, not just keeping it surface level, probabilities, risk reward, looking for setups. These, as long as we're just talking about that, there's nothing that I can justify on Aptos other than everything that I just told you. 4-hour 200s, hourly 200s. Unfortunately, that is a cope analysis, right? Let's acknowledge that. Everything that I just told you is cope. Wait, Mercury, so you're telling me that Aptos is breaking out, but because you can't justify it from an investment standpoint the same way that you can Ethereum or Bitcoin, you're not going to buy the breakout and ape into the breakout and try and capture that 30% move because the setups are not to your liking. That's what you're telling me? You are coping, Mr. Mercury. You know what I have to say to you? You're right. You're absolutely right. I am coping. I am refraining from playing into something that I don't feel comfortable with. I am staying away from my weaknesses and only playing into my strengths. I am exclusively waiting for trend retests where we do have confluence of support and I do have a very clear invalidation of market structure and I do have some kind of moving average confluence to that idea to portray those thoughts. Yeah, you're absolutely right that I wait for those kinds of things because I don't give a fuck about Aptos. There is no emotional attachment. I don't give a shit about Pepe and how it's ran up 300%. Oh, I missed Pepe. Oh, I missed Aptos. Oh, that sucks. Spacebar. Go to the next one. 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 Find something that does align with those thoughts. There's 1,000 other altcoins to go trade. Never have to force setups in any environment, but especially a bullish one. Especially a bullish environment, you should never be forced into setups. Opportunity is fucking abundant. Sorry I went on that whole spiel just about Aptos, but that is my analysis. All right, I got to catch up with some of these. Sorry. Blur recovered. So let's talk about Blur. Blur is still holding 4-hour 200s and previous supply zone as support. So this is an ideal kind of swing region. This is a very key inflection point for Blur. Previously, I was telling you 4-hour 200s, I don't really like them. They used to be complete alpha, and now I'm not so sure how much I need to be using them as part of my analysis. Well, after 2 or 3 tests, I think it's safe to say that 4-hour 200s are pretty relevant. So we can also say if we lose this demand zone, which we knew was relevant, we also lose the 4-hour 200s, which now we can say is relevant once again, and it used to be historically relevant as well, so we like that. Then we can start to change the analysis for Blur. In the meantime, these are ideal opportunities. These are swings that we can look for price discovery from this swing point, from the inflection point. Very key level where, based on what happens from there, dictates what may happen on a much grander scale. So either price discovery or a much deeper pullback than anything we've seen in the past month or two. Bean Counter said, when Coinbase comes back, will retail have a panic sell-off? Is Coinbase still not back up? I don't have any thoughts on that, by the way. I don't really know, how. That's so obscure. I can't pretend like I've seen that enough times over an exchange shutting down and coming back up to actually be able to give you some kind of like relevant, like intuitive, speculation as to what might happen from there. Is Coinbase still not up though? Oh, I got to catch up. Figure it out says, even though I closed big chunk of my position, 30% of my account just disappeared. Am I not supposed to care about these things except the P&L swings? Wait, what? Even though I closed a big chunk of my position, 30% of my account just disappeared. What do you mean? Like P&L? Like unrealized P&L? If 30% of your account is disappearing on a negative 9% BTC wick, you have bigger issues. If 30% of your position is disappearing, and I mean, I guess maybe if you're 3x leverage and that's how you're thinking about it, that's not necessarily how I would think about it, but just your alt positions. Are alts down negative 30%? I guess I'm confused as to how did 30% of your account disappear? What do you mean? Is it that you're up so much? Like, I don't. 10% on 3 alts. I don't understand. So how is, if 3 altcoins move down negative 10%, your entire portfolio should not be down 30%. Yeah, that means that you're allocated 100% of the exposure of your portfolio is allocated in terms of exposure. You have zero cash. So when market moved down negative 10% across 3 coins, you're down 30%. That means that you are way oversized. Way fucking oversized. You're on 3 or 4x leverage. I think we're misunderstanding the use of leverage. I think that is the core problem, the core issue to this problem. Okay, so you're accounting for leverage. So leverage is irrelevant, totally irrelevant. Are one of my community managers in here? Could they possibly link the position sizing, why leverage exists video to figure it out? Anyone? Or even just anybody? Lenny, if you're here. Oh, he's deafened. Long the Ponzi says, Thanks very much for the needed pep talk. How do you feel about in profit stop losses? They usually rob me more often than they save me, but they feel instinctively wise. It's a good question. So I do have a video about this too. I just put out a video about perfecting stop losses. So here's the thing. What's a good example? Okay, let's go back to INJ. Let's say that we're trading 4-hour 200 moving averages on INJ. And this is not hindsight. This is not, oh my God, yay, we could have put on these trades. These are actual trade setups that we did talk about at the time for INJ. So a setup that we drew out. Oh yeah, just hide your stop loss at negative, by the way, and then the market can never stop you out. That's the answer to your question, actually. Just put your stop loss in the negatives, and the market makers can never get you. So buying 4-hour 200s, and let's just for sake of argument, let's use this one because that one you might have gotten wicked out at the bottom. But anyways, you buy 4-hour 200s, you hide stop below structure, you hide stop below demand zone confluence. So maybe we have some demand somewhere in this region. Oh, I'm sorry, in this region. Right? We hide stop below structure. We have demand zone confluence as support, and moving averages, 4-hour moving averages are portraying a high time frame trend. So we're allowed to not just target this region, not just target the next one, but if we break out of the next one, we're in price discovery. So we just continuously target whatever the next level is, whatever the next fib is, next fib, next fib, next fib. If you are hiding your stop loss, so how did we come to the conclusion that this is a valid setup? We're playing the 4-hour chart. We're playing a high time frame trend. We're playing the 4-hour 200s. We're playing the 4-hour demand zone confluent with the 4-hour 200s. We're playing into the 4-hour market structure. So when price is here and we start to hide our stop loss below 15-minute 200s now, or hourly 200s, and say, oh, that's probably good enough because, it's below $10. Here we are trading above $10. My stop loss is below $10. We'll probably never go below $10 again. And then the market does this. Was the thesis that you initially entered upon ever invalidated? And obviously the answer is no. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. So when you're adjusting your stop losses, if you are going to try and get cute with the market and say, oh my God, we're up 50%. Okay, I'm going to hide my stop below the local trend of 15-minute 200 moving averages. When the 15-minute 200 moving averages break here, because I think they do, when they break here and your 4-hour 200s are still perfectly intact, that is, you then decided to take on a specific set of cons and a specific set of pros along with those cons. And here you are being forced to accept the cons. You decided to get cute with the market and hide your stop loss well above the same reasonings that allowed you to justify the position in the first place. But the reason that you're able to justify that and hide them below 15-minute 200s, which get chopped up, the reason that you're able to justify that is because, if I don't do that, then I potentially allow for a negative 20% retrace back into the 4-hour 200s just for us to maybe not even hold that trend that time around. Pros and cons, pros and cons, pros and cons, pros and cons. So if you're going to adjust your stop loss and adjust it in a while you're in profit, make sure that you understand what is the technical invalidation to that stop loss. Because if you enter off the 4-hour 200s here and you continuously adapt your stop loss to the new context of 4-hour 200s, local structure, demand zone confluence, this is not, you're not getting stopped out here. You're still holding your position. You're not getting stopped out here. You're still holding your position. We never break that structure. We never break down below that level. We wick below the 4-hour 200s for maybe an hour. We get right back above and then run it back turbo again. That's where you get stopped out. But if you're going to micromanage the trade and say, okay, well, I entered off of 4-hour 200s. I know that that's what allowed me to enter the position, but I'm going to hide my stop. I'm going to trail my stop loss along with the 15-minute 200 moving averages, or maybe the 30-minute 200 moving averages, the more local trend per trail. That's what I'm going to use. So my stop loss is going to get trailed with whatever the 15-minute 200s are. So I'm going to trail it here when we're trading at this region. I'm going to trail it below this low when we're trading at this high. And now that we're using that structure and we're breaking out again, I'm going to trail it below this low. And then now that we retested that structure, we're trading at this high. Okay, I'm going to hide it here. Oh, I'm stopped out. I'm stopped out of my trade. Where were you technically supposed to hide it if you're still playing into the same premise as to what you entered in the first place? Maybe you want to be below 4-hour 200s, below previous structure, so you would have been hiding it here. But Mercury, what if we pull back into the 4-hour 200s and then what if we do that and we break down below the 4-hour 200s and I could have sold at the 15-minute 200s instead. I could have locked in more profit. Good job. You're assessing your pros and your cons for both outcomes, for both decisions that you have available to you. You assessed both the pros and the cons. So there's your answer. How do you want to dictate where should you continuously hide your stop loss? Would you rather potentially allow for the deeper retrace of UPNL and, maybe 30% of your portfolio gets wiped because we're pulling back into 4-hour 200s and you're just doing nothing about it? Or do you want to get cute and use local invalidations to scale your assumptions into the higher time frame analysis? And if we break those local invalidations, you're going to throw in the towel across your analysis as a whole. So clearly, the dude who's still respecting 4-hour 200s in this scenario gets rewarded because the 4-hour 200s take and concept and setup and philosophy and all that stuff doesn't break until here. The 15-minute 200 scaling assumption error, right? Gets stopped out here. So variance. Oh, so in this outcome, you want to hide your stop below 4-hour 200. So this allows Mercury to come in when he gets this question. Now he can say, always hide your stop below the same high time frame invalidation that you hit it below to justify the trade in the first place. That's what's making you money. That's what allows you to be in that position. But the next time around, what if this happens? Here's 15-minute 200s break right here. Here's 4-hour 200s. And then number does that. Oh, well, if we were looking at that chart, Mercury would tell you very definitively, always scale your stop loss below whatever the local trend is. And that way, if we pull back into the higher time frame trend, you have more options available to you. You're not lulled into complacency. And if the 4-hour 200s don't hold, then you have a lot more options available because you're not still positioned in the trade. You're not watching as your P&L gets drawn down. No, that would be variance. So is there a right? Is there a wrong? No. There's just a particular way of thinking about it. And that's how I want you to kind of think about it. You assess those pros and cons. You say, okay, in this scenario, I'd rather do this. Okay, in this scenario, I'd rather do this. And then maybe even as you start to get more comfortable with your own discretion, your own intuition, you might say something along the lines of like, oh, well, this is a bull market. So I need to be giving things more wiggle room. Or maybe even you might say something along the lines of, okay, yeah, well, I should be giving it wiggle room, but it's up 500%. And the 4-hour 200s where I should technically hide my stop loss and what allowed me to be in this position and why I'm up 500% here today, that's currently negative 50% away from current price. So I can't use those. It's contextual. You're using your own discretion to help you form that decision-making process. So again, a lot of it comes back to personal situation. A lot of it comes back to personal situation. Always have to remember what kind of foundation are you setting yourself up in, and then the entire market, all of the probabilities and risk reward, which are these. When you mix probabilities and risk reward, you get these setups. When you're looking at these, it all gets pertained back to your personal situation, how you are able to justify your decision making process, the pros and cons that you are most willing to accept and continuously accept, the pros and the cons, the wins and the losses. You accept them. It all comes back to personal situation. So there's not a definitive answer, but there's an answer that you can come to every single time. And that answer does not have to be the same every single time. You can use your discretion to dictate based off of context, based off of those perceived probabilities, based off of that risk reward, based off of the white space in between your local trend, your high time frame trend. All that stuff is going to be variables that might sway your decision in one way or the other. Who's to say what's right and what's wrong? A lot of charts with giant wicks. How much weight do you place to those wicks? I don't care too much about wicks. I think candlestick trading is mostly a meme, to be honest. So what I mean by that is like, oh, this wick is supposed to dictate a top, right? Well, okay, cool, but that was also the exact same wick, and that was a wick too, and that was the wick too, and these are all wicks that are supposed to dictate tops, and that's a wick that's supposed to dictate a top, and so is that, 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 and look where we are. Oh, and by the way, this wick dictates a bottom. Okay, well, cool. So did that wick. Oh, so did that wick. Oh, so did these wicks. Oh, so did that wick. Oh, so was that wick. That was supposed to be the bottom too. Oh, that it actually was the bottom. Oh, that was supposed to be a bottom. No, it wasn't. Oh, this is supposed to be bottom. No, it wasn't. Oh, these are supposed to be bottoms. No, no, they weren't. Oh, that was supposed to be bottom. So for every one candlestick that you can find me that actually goes on to do exactly what it was implied to do, I can find you 4 or 5 more that didn't. So candlestick trading is a meme because it has about a 15% hit rate, I would say. So you have to be, that is the most discretionary kind of like arbitrary way to approach trading, in my opinion, is to use candlesticks. Because how are you able to tell me that this candlestick is different than that one? They both imply the same thing. Both of them say, oh, that's the bottom, by the way. This one says, oh, it's the bottom, by the way. That says, oh, that's the bottom, by the way. And so does this one. None of these were bottoms. Oh, but this one was the bottom, Mercury. Cool. What about this one, that one, that one, that one? What about the other 4 sample sizes that we're neglecting, that were not fucking bottoms? Why do we neglect those? Why do we not care about those? Candlestick trading, in my opinion, is a meme. So for every one candlestick you can find me that actually goes on to do what it's implied to do, I can find you 4 or 5 more that did not. That's my take. So how much weight? 0. 0 weight. Personally, that's just how I look at it. Let's see. Reminiscences of a Stock Operator. It's a great book. It really is. Highly recommend. I'm trying to catch up on chat here. Sorry. Yeah, figure it out. Please watch BTC CJ. There you go. Trader roll. BTCJ, not BTC CJ. Great mindset talk, Merc. Do you have a video on how you set up TradingView and the tools you use? I watch you use them. An explainer video would be helpful. I don't know that I have a video that covers all of that. It's pretty simple though. It's just I interpret market structure however I interpret market structure. So, in my opinion, this is the 4-hour high, that's the low, and that's the high. And then we could even say that's the low and that's the high, and then that's supposed to be the low, and we break down. So that would be the higher low on the daily, and then that is the equal high, or maybe higher high, and that's the higher low. And then so the daily analysis becomes this. It's just interpretive, right? We're all looking at the exact same structure. So how come I might say, oh, this is the structure for INJ? It's that low, it's that high, it's this low, it's that high, it's this low, it's that high, it's this low. I can say that, but then you can look at the exact same structure and say, no, you're wrong, Mercury. It is this high, that low, that high. And then we look from here. Because it's interpretation. So it's speculation and interpretation. Speculation is, hey, I'm drawing something on my chart. I drew a range. My grandmother does not have the range drawn the same way that I do because it's speculative. I'm using interpretation. So I'm using 200 MA and 200 EMA. It's very simple. You just go to, where's my settings? EMA/MA, I believe it's by Vaporista. I think if you just type in EMA/MA in your indicators tab, or you could use Crown, or I think there's one by Gooner. They're all the same because they're exact same calculation, right? That's my point, is that it's interpretive. So if you go turn on 200 MA and 200 EMA, you're going to get the exact same lines that I have on my chart. That blue line, that green line. It might be a different color, but it's going to be the exact same line. Now, is that a breakout to you, or is that still a bearish retest to you? Is this a breakdown to you, or is this still a bullish retest? So we're looking at something that is exactly the same across every single person's chart, but we're interpreting it differently. That's my system. It's a mixture of interpretation and speculation. So the speculation is, here's a gray box. I perceive there to be resistance in that region. Here's a gray box. I perceive there to be support in that region. Here's my moving averages. You're going to get the same moving averages that I have. You might view them differently, though. We're looking at the same exact market. We might interpret the structure differently. That's it. So there's not really too much complexity to it. It's just a matter of turning 200 MA and 200 EMA on your chart and finding your own kind of way of interpreting things, how you view the market structure, how you view support and resistance. And the edge in discretionary trading is your discretion. There's not too much complexity to my system. It's actually overly simplified on purpose because my brain is very puny. And if it were any more complicated, I'm not sure that I could really understand it. I think we got it, Edmund. We're good now. Thank you. CJ got it. I'm going to tag. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So along the Ponzi, that did answer your question. I know it was a roundabout way of answering your question, but it did. I did eventually get there at some point, right? All right. Manu says, I think candles in trading, like anything else, need to be used with some other confluence and a proper discretionary approach. For example, EMAs don't work per se, but in the right context, they do. You're absolutely right. So candlesticks are very discretionary. They are what the hell just happened to my PC? They are the epitome of discretionary trading. It's very discretionary. So in the right context, yes, absolutely. The likelihood is when we do get a major bottom, you are going to see a wick on the bottom. That's just the reality of it. There might be 17 wicks on the bottom of candlesticks on the way into the bottom. But the likelihood is when we bottom, there's probably going to be a big wick on the bottom of that price action. So then people go to, oh, so that means every time we see a big wick, that equals bottom. No, that's not even close to what we just said. So it might have a 10% hit rate, but obviously, if we bottom, there's a very, very, very high chance that we're going to see a wick on the bottom of that chart. So something like that is an example. Something like that in this example, that's a bad example. There's no wick there. There's a wick here. There's a wick here. There's a wick there that ends up being the bottom. But into that, there's several wicks where we did not bottom. So very discretionary. Very, very, very discretionary. Oh my gosh. Figure it out. You're gonna drive me crazy. I tag him in the risk management video. He's like, "It's all good. The P&L is coming back, but I'll watch the video too. Thanks." Oh my gosh. Watch the video first. Understand the risk management first. Understand how leverage works first. Then you don't have to worry about the P&L swings. Do you want to give me a heart attack? Was that your like goal today? I'm kidding with you, by the way, in case that wasn't clear. Just messing. My leverage didn't feel that high until BTC rugged. I had good I had good entries. Man, if I had a penny for every single time somebody's told me that, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be on my private island. All right, guys. Is there anything else that you guys want from me before we wrap this up? We've already been going for 2 hours. Had a good rant. Got lots done. Okay. So current relevant examples. To hone in on the Wix point, say Link or Mina, do we disregard them and pretend like they don't exist, or use previous lows as the gray boxes? I guess it depends what you're talking about. So this is a big wick, right? I'm still viewing my range low as this region here. So I'm still going to draw, if I'm going to draw a gray box, per my perception of it, I'm going to draw my gray box there. That seems more fitting to me than to exclusively count on the wicks and move it down here. That's my perception. That's my discretion. That's how I want to view it. That's how I see it. I know some people who will use the wicks as the newfound support level or as the newfound range low. So they'll use the exact wick low as the range low, in which case you get something more along the lines of this. Maybe to some people that looks a lot better. To my puny little brain, that does not. I would prefer to see it as that and just say the wicks are wicks. They overthrew, they left that wick behind, but really the level that we were kind of stalling into and starting to push up against that momentum was this one. And then that gets kind of, I hate the word confirmed, but confirmed, that gets kind of validated when we overthrow and then find our way back above that region and then start to sustain around that region. So then that idea, that perception gets vindicated in my puny little brain per my puny little discretion, because I'm viewing it as this is the region. And then that further price action is like, okay, when we're not as extreme, we're not pulling back negative 20% in the span of 1 hourly candlestick. When things are normal again, oh, what level are we respecting? We're respecting the actual zone itself, not the wick area. So I tend to put less emphasis on wicks. But again, so like if if this is a higher high, then in my market structure interpretation, we'll call this an equal high right now. But let's pretend that the wick does this, maybe not that high. The wick does that and then leaves the wick behind and then breaks down. I'm using this wick as my market structure interpretation more times than not, unless it is something incredibly obscure where Link does this. Then I'm probably accounting for that structure, for that wick in terms of my structure. So that's going to be the new structure that I'm working with, even though it is a wick. So I'm going to account for that in my analysis. If I'm looking for that higher high, well, we got that higher high. We just got it for only 2 hours, and then we start to pull back. But when we're pulling back, we're looking for what? A higher low. A higher low along 4-hour 200s. Okay, cool. We locked that in. So far, so good. Nothing happening. Nothing all too interesting. The actual context for Link, if I'm accounting for that wick and I'm using that as part of my structure, technically we're still perfectly fine. The uptrend idea is still perfectly valid. We're starting to, because it's more of an equal high, we're starting to form a bit of a range. Now, within that range, the trend trader's mindset is still confluent and perfectly valid. So that's still going to be the invalidation as a range trader that is in tandem with that analysis. Right? They're both on the same kind of page. We're hiding our stop below the range. We're hiding our stop loss below 4-hour 200s. We're also hiding our stop below previous trending structure. So we're accounting for all kinds of viewpoints here. Manu says, what's a bit more reliable is candle patterns like morning stars rather than just a simple wick. Yeah, I don't know anything about candlestick pattern trading. It's definitely not something you're going to see me discuss too often. So I don't like to discuss things or focus on things that I'm not actually going to execute off of. So it's all vanity to me. Couldn't care less. All right. With that said, doesn't seem like anyone has any more questions or requests for me. We've also been going on for 2 hours, so we're going to wrap up the stream here. So thank you guys. I very much appreciate you tuning into the stream with me. I can only hope that you're doing well. Please do not get liquidated. Please understand a proper risk management. Don't forget everything that you worked so very hard for the past few years, or however long you've been here, or maybe just been in this Discord. Don't forget all the nice foundational concepts, the psychology, the everything, the discipline, the emotional maturity, ease of access, limiting your ease of access, all that stuff. Don't just let it be thrown out the window and go to waste. Make sure that you are, what's the word? You're capitalizing off of your previous mistakes. You are ensuring that any mistake you've ever made in this market cycle, in the past month, or maybe just yesterday or today, it gets accounted for. You start to do things to counteract it. Please do not live the same life cycle. Do not have a bunch of cool stories under your tool belt. Oh, I did this. Oh, I sold this too early. Oh, I got liquidated one time. Oh, I remember a time where I gave all my P&L in the span of 3 hours. Don't have those stories just to have more moving forward. That's the waste. So please, 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 we can win. Do not lose sight of what matters. Being a respectable, level-headed person and like-minded trader, and respecting trends and having a proper risk management. That's going to be the only thing that ensures that whatever the market does tomorrow, or maybe Friday, or maybe next Friday, or the Friday after that, you're still going to be willing to tune into this live stream. Otherwise, you cannot actually convince yourself that you will want to be here with the same eagerness and desperation to learn and hear me rant about trading psychology as you did today. So do not lose sight of that, please. It might be cliche, and that's unfortunate, but it is reality. Okay? much love. I can only hope that you guys are thriving. I can only hope that you guys are getting value from being in this Discord and being a part of my family. And I thank you for being a part of my family. So thank you. Much love to each and every single one of you. Wish you the best. And I will talk to you again on Friday. Peace.